Hi, my name is Courtney Shane, and I'm going to do a book talk on An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. An Abundance of Katherines is about Colin, a child prodigy who wants to be a genius. A child prodigy is someone who learns quickly, and a genius is someone who does great things. So, Colin isn't a genius, and he wants to be, and he's fairly insecure about this matter, and he goes on about it a lot during the book. And another reason Colin is insecure is because he's been dumped by 19 women, and all of them are named Catherine, hence the title of the book. If we were to put this in an equation, it would look like this. So after Colin gets dumped by his 19th Catherine, his best friend Hassan decides to take him on a road trip to help Colin find out who he is and be less insecure and less socially awkward and less annoying. So they go on the road trip and they end up in Gutshot, Tennessee, visiting the grave of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and there they meet Lindsay Lee Wells, who is their tour guide, and she agrees to help Colin and Hassan find a place to stay. So they go with her, and she brings them to her house, and they get jobs working for her mother, Hollis, who owns Gutshot Textiles, the largest industry in Gutshot, Tennessee. And their job is to go around talking to people, recording oral histories of the town. And so as they do that, Hassan and Lindsay try and teach Colin how to tell a story. And meanwhile, Colin is working on a formula to graph relationships so you can see how a relationship will progress and predict or look at a graphical representation of prior relationships. This is the equation. And here's a graph you can make using the equation. I liked the book because if you've ever read anything by John Green, he's a really, really good writer. One of the things I really appreciated about the novel was the footnotes. The footnotes contain facts that Colin can't tell other people because they think they're boring. And the footnotes gave me an appreciation for how impossibly nerdy I am, because I actually like them and think they're more interesting than the actual novel. But apparently a lot of people don't, and normal people would not like to know these things. So I just need to go buy an interesting fact book because that's what I need and want. But I will share one of the footnotes with you for your pleasure. It's on page 98, and it is written in during a conversation about Nikola Tesla, and I will read it to you now. The odd thing about that is that Nikola Tesla actually did love birds, but not one-legged chickens. Tesla, who did at least as much for electricity as Thomas Edison, had a quasi-romantic fascination with pigeons. He really fell for one particular white pigeon. Of her, he wrote, "I loved that pigeon. I loved her as a man loves a woman." Another thing I really appreciated about the novel was how it talked about and examined interpersonal relationships, because Colin's really bad at them. And it's because he's awkward, because lots of really smart people are awkward because they don't learn how to socialize or learn how to take things in depth. They just memorize. They're really right-brainy people. And so Colin, he doesn't understand the tortoise and the hare. He gets the story, but he doesn't get that the motto is slow and steady wins the race. He doesn't understand morals or deeper meaning behind things. He's just a whiz of memorization. And Lindsay really understands interpersonal relationships because as a middle schooler, she was really unpopular, lots of middle schoolers feel they are, and was bullied. And so she spent a lot of her time studying her classmates, figuring out how to become popular. Just studying how you need to act and react and what they did, examining how their social system was set up. And she did become popular, and I guess that's the goal a lot of middle schoolers have. The quotation I'm going to share with you is on page 37. And the reason I picked this quotation is I think it says a lot about people in general and how we're afraid to let go of things. Because if we let go, then what if we have nothing? Like, we're afraid to let go of people, old friendships that aren't really working anymore. We have a hard time letting go of them, but we have a hard time admitting that to ourselves as well, because if we let go of them, what if we don't have friends? Or there are old things we keep and hold on to, even though we don't use them anymore. Because if we get rid of it, then we don't have it anymore. And it's like giving up a memory, I suppose. So, here's the quotation. Prodigy was what Colin had, the way language has words. Talk for this novel has inspired you to read An Abundance of Katherines, because it really is a good book by a really amazing author. And if you're ever in need of any book, I would suggest just going to a library and going and finding John Green and just picking one. They're all really amazing. The book can be found at the Moorhead High School Library shortly, because I will be returning it tomorrow.